Bears are coming into this game at 5-4. Minnesota 3-5. Now, offensively, Chicago has struggled as of late. They rank 29th in total offense, 317 yards a game. They are 31st in yards per play at 4.8, 21st in passing yards at 235, 22nd in sacks allowed at 23, and they're 16th in sack percentage at 5.8%. Now they are 32nd in rushing yards at 82.3, 31st in yards per carry at 3.7, and they are 31st in attempts per game at 22.2. Third down percentage, 31st, 32.3%, 30th in the red zone at 50%, and they're 29th in points per game at 19.8 points. Defensively, much, much better. 9th in total defense, allowing 335 yards a game. 6th in yards per play allowed at 5.1. They are 7th in passing yards at 218. 17th in sack percentage at 6%. However, this kind of surprised me. They are 23rd in pressure percentage at 19.9%. They are 14th in rushing yards allowed at 116.9. 10th in yards per carry allowed at 4.1. And they are first in third down defense. First in red zone defense at 31% and 41.9%. They're also 7th in the league in allowing points at 21.1. Now, on the injuries, John Jenkins, he's out. He's a nose tackle. That could be kind of key. Sherrick McManus, safety, out with a hand. David Montgomery, he's the running back, out with a concussion. Trubisky's out with a shoulder injury, and then Sam Mustipher, a backup offensive lineman that they've had to resort to because that offensive line has been beat up, but it looks like they're hoping to get Cody Whitehair back. But he is doubtful with a knee. Now, Minnesota, offensively, they are 11th, 382 per game in total offense. They are first in yards per play at 6.6, 25th in passing yards, 221.6, 14th in sacks allowed at 16, 23rd in sack percentage, 7.1%. Now, rushing the ball, that's kind of their thing. Third in rushing yards, 160.4. First in yards per carry at 5.5 yards a carry. And they're 10th in attempts per game at 29.4. However, they are 25th on third down at 39.2%. But third in red zone at 76.9% and 12th in points per game at 27.1. Now, defensively, not quite as good. 29th in total defense, 412.9 allowed per game. They are 22nd in yards per play allowed at 6.0, 30th in passing yards at 287.9, 21st in sack percentage, 5.1, and 24th in pressure percentage at 19.8%. Now, they are 20th in rushing yards at 125 yards allowed per game, and 21st in yards per carry at 4.2 allowed per game, per carry, and 8th in attempts per game at 29.5, so they're being ran at quite a bit. However, they are 6th in both red zone and third down defense being 37.2%, red zone being 54.8%, and they're 25th in points per game at 29.3 points. Now, their injury report, much shorter than the Bears. Irv Smith Jr., he is out with a groin, which is kind of a blow because I do think that is Minnesota's best tight end. I've thought that for a while now. But Cameron Dantzler, he is questionable with a concussion, so we'll have to see if he is maybe he has to pass another test after the whole Green Bay thing where, stretcher, all that, where he was carted off there. Don't know if there's going to be another test he's going to have to pass in order to play. But he's been limited all week, and it kind of looks like if they have anything to say about it, he should play. Now, not sure if it's worth mentioning, but it might be something to monitor. On the last day, Eddie Jackson for the Bears did not practice, and it was listed as a personal reason, so don't know if that's going to impact him for the game. He doesn't have any kind of designation or anything, so I would assume it doesn't, but just in case, maybe something to keep an eye out for. But to my actual thoughts here. So offensively, I think the Bears will probably probably be geared up to stop a one Dalvin Cook. I know some people will be like, they allow 117 yards a game and 4.1 yards per carry. Minnesota should be able to take advantage of that. However, people in Tennessee probably thought that about Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry averaged 3.2 yards a carry and was held under 70 yards. This might be the play action explosion time that has basically been set up by the Dalvin explosion that happened in the last 2 weeks. So, and to help things like that, with no Irv Smith, why not run a ton of jumbo sets? This is primarily a 2 tight end offense. Why not just trade in Irv Smith for an Oli Udoh or an Rashad Hill? Just because it will help you in the run game, and when you try to go play action and max protect, you have an extra lineman out there instead of a tight end. I'm kind of hoping we see a ton of jumbo. And I'm thinking you have to start fast for this game because you just need to plant that seed of doubt into that defense's head just a little bit. Because if the first quarter comes and goes and it's 10-0, 14-0 Minnesota, they might be like, oh, here we go again. Just start quickly, start fast, plant that seed of doubt, hopefully. And this this probably will mean nothing. Could mean absolutely nothing. But in that Week 17 game last season, or as I like to call it, the 5th preseason game that we had last year, most of the Bears' defensive starters were on the field, and Mike Boone did go for 148 yards and 8.7 yards per carry. So, who knows if they actually found something to work against this defense in terms of rushing the ball just in a game that didn't matter, or if that was just they treated it as a game that didn't matter, therefore they didn't try as hard. We'll find out. That may mean nothing. Probably does mean nothing. But I just thought I'd throw that out there. And blocking them would be nice, just as a general thing. Part of my jumbo set, because Minnesota has struggled to block them as of late. So, more linemen equals better blocking, hopefully. And something to keep an eye out for is Roquan Smith on these screen passes. Because Minnesota has gotten back to their screen passes, Roquan Smith is very, very fast. Which means he can kind of blow up your screen passes. One reason why I'm thinking play action, kind of shoot it over the middle of him, just right over his head, is probably the better way to go here. And basically this could be a Dalvin Cook decoy game, which would be, kind of interesting to see how that would go. Defensively, they do have a new play caller in Chicago this week. And my guess is you're going to see some more runs just because they're 31st at that 22.2 attempts per game. And obviously with that defense, you might want to rest it a bit. Just so maybe more runs, try to get more effective runs in there as well. I mean, 3.7 yards per carry isn't exactly the most confidence-boosting thing out there. But I'm also kind of hoping they take the training wheels off of the corners a bit this game. And kind of force the Bears to go deep. Challenge them. Start sending some pressure. Man up on the outsides. You may get beat a few times, yes. But you're kind of banking on, some errant throws, hopefully for some pressure. And hopefully you can get a turnover through it. And you kind of want to make the bet of, we don't think you can consistently throw it past 20, 30 yards and beat us, which the Bears have not shown they could. So try to lock down things and keep things in front of you, basically. Or kind of play super aggressive there. Cover a lot of that and almost give them free shots. Just say, if you beat us that way, you beat us that way, but we're going to try to make you earn it because this line is beat up. You don't have a quarterback that moves all that great. Start sending pressure, man up, and thinking that's probably the way to go. And I'm just thinking, yes, at times you may give up a 20, 30, 40-yard pass. It will happen because they do have skill players there. That kind of goes unrecognized because of how bad the line has been and how bad their quarterback play has been as of late. But Mooney, he's a rookie. Get to know him. He's going to be there for a while. He's pretty good. And then obviously you got Allen Robinson. Jimmy Graham isn't horrible. And When healthy, David Montgomery's solid. You also got Cordero Patterson, who's probably going to take a lot of the carries over there now. Well, maybe not a lot, but he's going to take a pretty decent portion of them out of the backfield. They do have some skill position players, and I also forgot about Anthony Miller. Second round pick out of Memphis a few years back. Not horrible as well. They do have some decent skill players there, so you may get beat. But you're kind of banking on the quarterback play and the offensive line play continuing to struggle. And I'm thinking you might be able to force the issue there, get a turnover or two. That's my whole thought process there. Now, prediction, I am taking Chicago. And there might be some that don't like that. But I'm taking them 18-14 simply because I need to see it in order to believe it. I do have some optimism about them blocking this front this time around, just because I think Ezra Cleveland has actually been a really, really big addition to that right guard spot. And you got no Eddie Goldman this go around. Roy Robertson Harris, he is out for the year. He had a surgery like in this past week. He is a great pass rusher on the interior. They are out him, so you might have some better blocking. However, like I said, I need to see it in order to believe it. Optimism, but not confident in it. And I know some may not like that because the Bears are kind of in a bad spot right now, and there's some kind of dysfunction things that people might point at and things like that, and why fans and the media expert people may call for a Minnesota win. I just can't buy into it until I physically see it with my own eyes, because the biggest issue Minnesota has had with the Bears is the fact that they cannot block the Bears. If they can block the Bears, they probably win a good portion of those games. But they cannot block the Bears in years past. So, block Bears, win game. Don't block, don't win game. It's kind of how it is. Because with Chicago, it's always kind of been a game of don't turn the ball over, get to 20 points, you have like a 95% chance of winning. That's how it's been. And I think that's certainly how it still is. I'm just not trusting us to be able to do it still. Last year in Chicago, 16-6 was that loss. Yeah. So I would like to know your guys' comments down below. Thoughts, opinions, all that good stuff. Like and subscribing, super helpful. And until next time, I bid y'all adieu.